Hey there, welcome or welcome back. Glad you stopped by. Today, the final part three of bezeling a cabochon. What we did before, first we made the bezel, got it around the cab, got it to fit, pattern match. Then we soldered. In part two, we put the bezel and the rope onto the back plate. Off camera, I soldered a small jump ring onto it for the bail and the cord. So today what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of patina on the rope so we can actually see it. And then we're going to set this cabochon, and I've got some tricks. But before we get started, if you get something out of this video, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. Click the bell to be alerted of new videos when they come out. All right, so after part two, I soldered on the little jump ring onto the edge, and then I tumbled the setting and the earring settings for about 40 minutes. And I'll put up a picture somewhere of the tumbling media that I use in just a Harbor Freight cheapy tumbler. That work hardens and gets rid of a lot of the imperfections, cuts down the workload on final polishing. All right. What I have also done is, I'm going to move the cabochon. We don't need that right now. I did heat this setting with a hair dryer. That's why I'm having a hard time holding it. And that tends to make the blackening or the patina work a little bit better. What I have is some of my homemade Black Max or Jacks. If you guys want me to do a video on how to make your own blackening and patina, let me know. I'm happy to do that. I just hate paying $18 for a little tiny container of it. All right, before this gets too cool, I am going to try to position this smartly. Wet my brush a little bit. This is a solid scalloped bezel, so I'm not worried about getting the patina on the bezel. It's more the rope and between the rope and the bezel that I want to hit. So I'm going to put my optivisor back on because I'm blind as a bat. And we're just going to brush that blackening compound onto the rope. Get a little more. You don't have to overdo it. It does work a little better if the piece is warm, but that's okay. I just want the rope to show better. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus. You can kind of see I'm just going on the rope. If I hit the bezel, that's totally okay. No hurry on this. They say to let it sit for 30 seconds. If you let it sit for a minute, that's totally okay too. It's not going to hurt anything. Almost done here. Keeping a fairly dry brush. And FYI, anytime you're using a patina or a blackening liquid, you need to do this in a well-ventilated area. There are some nasty chemicals in it. Okay. We have the blackening compound. Put the lid back on that. And what you want to do is just let it sit for a minute or so. And then I have a little jar with water, and I put about a teaspoon of baking soda in it and mixed it up. This does not have to be hot or cold. It can be whatever water. I use distilled water for everything. I do not use tap water. I don't want chlorine, chloramine, fluoride, minerals, God knows what getting on the jewelry I'm making. So always use distilled water, a little bit of baking soda, and we're going to swish this around just a little bit, and that will stop the blackening compound and neutralize it. Now, this is one of the times, the only times, that I will use paper towels on jewelry, just to kind of soak this up. I typically like to use microfiber towels because they don't leave little particles and they don't scratch. So we're going to get that out now. I'm going to go take the hairdryer to this to dry off the water real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, it's warm again, it's dry, got all the water, baking soda off of it. The next thing I'm going to do is take off some of this compound, this blackening, and what I do as a first pass is a 1 micron, super fine, very fine, whatever it's called, impregnated silicone wheel. Now on the rope, the lines are going from the cabochon out, so I want to polish this off perpendicular to where I want to leave the blackening compound. So let's say my fingers were the rope and I want some blackening in between. I want to run the wheel this way to leave that compound. I don't want to bring the wheel in between because that'll remove what we just put on. I want to run it this way. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you can start anywhere you like. If you got a little on the bezel, just go ahead and touch it. We are going to polish this a little more thoroughly. All I'm trying to do is remove excess at this point. Pardon my watch duty app going off there. We have a fire in the area. If I was smart, I would have put it on Do Not Disturb, but I guess I'm not smart enough to do that. Alright. That's about it. Now I want to wipe it off and see if I left any on the bezel or anywhere else I don't want it. Did I get any underneath? Yeah, there is a little bit that splashed underneath. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the blackening. Now, like I said, we are going to hit this with some Zam final polish, but this is pretty close. Let me just get that off of the back. We got a little drip there. Just make it all even. All right. So that's pretty much ready to go. Now, let's talk about setting this cabochon. Typically cabochons, unless it's a very soft stone like an opal or something like that, I'll go ahead and set it before I do the polishing because I might want to just bring the polish onto the cabochon. Zam, Z-A-M, actually works very well on most stones. In addition to silver. Let me show you what that looks like. Good old Zam. This is pretty much the only compound I ever use. If it's a little rougher and I need to go through some steps in polishing, I'll use these silicone impregnated wheels. I don't need to go through a bunch of different layers of compound, especially if you tumble it first. Okay, back on the last one, we marked the cabochon to know where the seam is, and if we did good, it'll be really hard to find. But I see it on the inside. So I'm going to set that cabochon in there. And like we talked about in part 2, if I needed to raise the cabochon up before I set it, before I put it in the bezel, I would have cut the outline of the cabochon out of a credit card, a milk jug, anything plastic. I know a lot of the old school silversmiths and Native Americans use sawdust. I'm not a fan of putting sawdust under there. It's biodegradable. It's eventually going to turn to dust and go away, and then your cabochon's going to be loose. Use something plastic that's waterproof. Okay, setting the cabochon in there, and it is set. And if you're interested, if it makes you a little nervous setting because you may have made the bezel a little too tight, or in soldering it got too tight, check out my video on using dental floss for cabochons. You can put a piece of dental floss under here, and if you need to lift it back out, you can just pull the dental floss. If you like it, pull one end of the dental floss and it comes right out. Okay, so the cabochon is in the setting. Now we need to lock it in place. What most people will do, I'm having a hard time reaching that, is grab one of those. Those are perfectly fine, with one caveat. If you slip, you could break or scratch your cabochon. Also, if the edges get a little bit dull, you're going to want to keep them polished so you don't scratch the crap out of your bezel or cabochon. But let me show you something that I learned from a gentleman named Paul at Rooster Studio. He's a hell of a silversmith. It's a little bit safer and just as easy as those. A chopstick. You can buy 100 of them for a couple bucks at Wally World. If you can get the bamboo ones, those work even better. I think this is just regular wood. That might be bamboo, now that I look at it. Really simple. What we're going to do is start on one side, and let me emphasize, we are not setting these all the way on the first pass. We're just going to bend those scallops over a little bit, not all the way. I'm going to do a few on one side, then I'm going to go over, and notice I'm holding the cabochon into the setting with my fingers. You can also put it down and push it like that, whatever's most comfortable for you. This is a smaller one, so I'm going to just go ahead and hold it. Sorry if I'm not getting it centered in the camera. We're going to push this over a little bit at a time. Then I'm going to go to the bottom, top, whatever, and I'm going to push them over a little more. And go to the opposite side. And we're going to push them in a little bit. And this method works with just about any style of bezel, especially solid. Now here's what happens if you push them in too far on the first time through. That metal is going to want to fold. And as you're pushing it over, it's going to cause kind of crinkles in the bezel, and you will not be able to push those down all the way where it's flat and nice looking. So a little bit at a time. We have it all started. We've started to hook the bezel over the cabochon. Now I'm going to go just a little bit more, pretty close to all the way. Because right now the cab is still loose. And I'm going to work my way around. Again, holding the cab into the setting. And we're almost there. Now this works the same if you're using one of these tools. And they can be handy. Just make sure they stay polished and you don't slip. What I'm going to do is find a nice edge, and I'm going to burnish that bezel over and lock it into place permanently. And I'm looking at the top here to make sure the bezel is contacting the cabochon. And then I will see, I almost slipped there. Had that been an opal, oops, I did it again. All right, heck with that. I'm going back to the chopstick. Had that been an opal or something soft, we would have just scratched that, and I would have had to go back out to the cabbing machine, make another stone, waste stone, get all upset. A little bit of a fold started there, so I'm going to go on top of the fold, and I'm going to push a little more, and I'm going to finally check them all. And it looks like everybody is making contact. Now it is set. Final step. If I can find my tools. I'm going to grab my Zam and whichever mop I'm liking at the moment. Got to change the collet size. I don't know why they don't make a standard. All right. Now before I go for the polish, I want to clean this off really good. I don't want finger grease, oils, and schmutz getting into my polishing mops. Now, get a little bit onto the mop. And I'm going to work my way around, also going opposite of where I want to leave the patina. If I go this way, I'm going to remove that blackening compound. I want to go this way. And I want to get in that seam. And this will remove any fine scratches. Maybe the tumbler didn't remove it, or maybe we scratched it with our setting tool. I'm also going to hit the back and give the back its final polish. I'm going to go one way, then I'm going to go the other. All right, that's ready to put a cord on and ship to its new owner right after I wipe it all off. There we go. Okay. The final product. And notice with that little bit of blackening, we can really see that rope now from a distance. We know what it is. If the bezel had decorations on it, you could go ahead and blacken the bezel. But I'm going to say that's pretty well done. If I forgot anything, please drop a comment. Let me know, or if you have a different way of doing things, drop a comment and let's discuss it. But with that, this series is complete. Be well, be creative, and we'll see you next time.